In the year 198, according to the solar calendar, in Kita Ward, Tokyo, on a train, a person suddenly appears with ash on their mouth and then bursts into flames. In this world, those people are called infernals. Coincidentally, our protagonist, Shinra Kusakabe, is right there at the scene, witnessing the whole thing, ready to confront the monster that was just born. But it turns out he doesn't have to do anything, because Special Fire Force Company 8 appears, and during the sister's prayer, the infernal is laid to rest by the Fire Force. Right after the confrontation ends, a light fixture snaps and is about to fall on the sister. Shinra notices it. With the speed and power from his feet, he rushes over and carries her out of the danger zone. Afterward, Shinra introduces himself as a new member of Company 8, a third-generation fire soldier, and is brought to the main headquarters. The place is quite spacious but more run-down than he expected. Captain Akitaru Obi and Lieutenant Takahisa Hinawa, after reading his file, realize that whenever Shinra is stressed, he flashes a very sinister grin. Obi teases him until Shinra reacts, and this becomes a running joke. Shinra shares that he joined the Fire Force to become a hero, but also mentioned a story from the past related to this smile that made people label him a demon from the start. Right from the beginning of the show, there's a fan service moment when the two beauties of Company 8, Maki Oz and Sister Iris, show off their curves while bathing and talking about Shinra's previous actions towards Sister Iris. Maki is a second-generation fire soldier with an athletic build but a romantic soul, while Iris is a sister from the Holy Soul Temple. She doesn't have fire abilities, but is a crucial member with the duty of praying for the Infernals when they are extinguished. Obi explains the story of the Infernals to Shinra as well as the method to defeat them. You must aim for the core, which is the heart. That is the mission of the Fire Force. Additionally, they need to find out why they spontaneously combust and how to stop it. While reminiscing about his childhood, Shinra is informed of a mission and has to leave immediately. But when facing the Infernal, he freezes as painful memories flood back. His mother transforming into one and his younger brother show, presumed dead in the same fire. With no remains ever found, Shinra was automatically branded the killer, despite the lack of proof. As soon as Shinra calms down, he dispatches the Infernal quickly by coordinating with Company 8 and using the power of his feet, successfully completing his first mission. Arthur Boyle, the newest member of Company 8, is also a third-generation fire soldier like Shinra. Although they're the same generation, Arthur treats Shinra in a very condescending way, making Shinra want to punch the kid right in the face. Just as Meki is explaining the second and third generations, the two gods rush into each other to fight over a silly reason. Arthur prefers the title of knight, while Shinra thinks hero is cooler. Lieutenant Hinawa, seeing the dispute, sends Maki to confront the two young men. Despite being a woman, she is not weak at all. Maki handles both of them easily, making Arthur and Shinra surrender immediately. Shinra and Company 8's second mission. A strange man appears and influences the fire in the house. But this time, the Inferno in the house doesn't lose control and is very calm, sitting at the dining table. Even so, the fire has spread too deeply, and Company 8 decides to let Arthur free the Infernal from the pain he's enduring. Right after laying the Infernal to rest, the man who had influenced the fire before causes the house to explode, almost taking Obi out. The culprit for the destruction is Joker, a notorious figure in Fire Force, until much later. The mysterious meeting between Joker and the person responsible for the ashes appearing in the house before. Victor Licht, a scientist and researcher who has a lot of valuable information. At the same time, the Rookie Fire Soldier tournament begins, and Shinra gets to meet his future wifey, Tamaki Kotatsu. Not only that, Shinra also sees a one-eyed silver-haired man, who looks exactly like the man responsible for the house fire where he lost both his mother and brother. Without hesitation, Shinra directly approaches him and learns he is Leonard Burns, the captain of Company 1. When asked about the event 12 years ago, he avoids the question, saying he doesn't remember anything, which only increases Shinra's suspicion. When the rookie tournament starts, Shinra uses his power to fly to the roof of the building where he and the other rookies will compete to rescue victims inside. But the person Shinra faces is none other than Joker. Here, Shinra receives the shocking news that his brother, Sho, is still alive. And Joker also mentions that there are evil secrets hidden within the Fire Force itself. Therefore, he wants to convince Shinra to join him and become a true demon. Before he can think, Arthur and Tamaki appear. Thinking Joker is one of the challenges they must overcome, so they immediately launch an attack. Joker uses the mysterious ashes, the same ones from the previous incident that Company 8 encountered, to escape and destroy the entire competition building. Luckily, Shinra manages to rescue all the victims and break out of the encirclement, though he sustains some non-trivial injuries. When Shinra temporarily recovers, he goes to Captain Obi to check if the Fire Force truly has been corrupted. Obi doesn't hide anything and tells Shinra that besides the Fire Force, there is the Imperial Guard and the Holy Soul Temple, three powerful forces ensuring Tokyo's security. The Fire Force is composed of 8 companies, each responsible for a different area in Tokyo, and Company 8's mission is to be an undercover agent, investigating the work of Companies 1 through 7. And from there, find the truth about the Infernals and why people spontaneously combust. Obi himself thinks the Fire Force already knows the cause of the Infernals and needs to disclose that information to save future victims. The ashes Joker used were analyzed and found to come from Infernals. This raises a concern when Joker uses the dead as a weapon. In a trial for the murderer Setsuo Miyamoto, who treats killing as his personal hobby, a total lunatic, but somehow he is judged innocent. He even spontaneously turns into an infernal right there in the courtroom. Strangely, he doesn't lose his sanity. On the contrary, he is very coherent while talking and attacking people. The members of Company 8 arrive to deal with this killer, but he quickly escapes, forcing Shinra to chase after him because only he can match the killer's speed. It doesn't take much effort to capture him, but just as he is about to be shackled, Company 5 appears with Hibana and snatches him away from Shinra. Although the area is under Company 8's jurisdiction, Company 5 is the one with the Infernal Research Team, and Hibana takes Miyamoto with the excuse of research. And because Company 8 is still young and inexperienced in research, Obi cannot object to Hibana's demand. Obi and his comrades sense something suspicious from Company 5, so they dig a little deeper into the background of this charming captain. It turns out Hibana has conducted many illegal experiments on Infernals and used that information to climb to the position of captain. Iris also decides to meet and talk with Hibana because the two used to be childhood friends at the orphanage, expecting to grow up and become sisters together. But Hibana now hates them and even God, saying it's foolish to believe in such things. Enraged, Hibana captures Iris to lure all of Company 8 into battle. Of course, there's no way they would abandon their friend. 5 company members trying to stop Shinra are continuously shot down by Takahisa. Arthas gets close to eliminate those who were not hit. A perfect combination. 5 squad had guns, but they were meaningless compared to Takahisa's enhanced gun. His martial arts were also incredible, and his use of firepower was too skillful, knocking out all enemies. Arthur followed Shinra inside. He saw a guy who looked like a monster. An old man whose research achievements enhanced Miyamoto's strength. The 5 squad rookie was Sneak, attacking Takesa's group. His rubber balls have a strong explosive ability, but Maki managed to stop them. The guy continued to attack with continuous horrific explosions, but Takesa's experience helped him and Maki hide in time. The problem now is they don't know which direction the attack is coming from. Takahisa immediately fired a sweeping shot, changing the bullet's path to find the target. He thought the shooting style was just a long shot, but from the sparks created when the bullet collided, he could control it again. Like a perpetually moving bullet, and the guy was shot down because of that. Takahisa intended to interrogate the defeated opponents about the document's whereabouts, but their more formidable opponent appeared. The old man intends to use his work to kill Arthur. Miyamoto quickly attacks. His enhanced strength is truly formidable. Arthur dodges, but the opponent attacks continuously. Since the attack was ineffective, Miyamoto was forced to get close to Arthur, and this is an advantage for a swordsman like him. The combat situation is constantly reported to Hibana. She lost track of Obi and Shinra, but only sees them rushing into the fire. Indeed, Miyamoto is completely dominating Arthur. However, Arthur is not injured, just surprised that his performance is not as usual. Not until the opponent insults his dream of being a knight does he hesitate, rushing forward, falling into Miyamoto's trap, and getting hit. He prepares to finish him off. but Arthas immediately switches the sword from his left hand to his right, cleaving Miyamoto in two with a single strike. This was Arthur always hidden power. Hibana probably didn't expect this. Her three trusted subordinates were also defeated simultaneously. Takahisa and Maki are free to prepare to find the documents. Shinra has seen his target. He believes the mansion is where Hibana resides. Today is Shinra's chance to solo a captain-level opponent and test his strength. But if he can't overcome her previous ultimate move, his chance of winning is zero. Hibana and Iris's story is now revealed. How could she believe in God when she and the other nuns were burned in the fire? Hibana survived thanks to her third-gen ability, stepping onto a path of no return. Shinra appears. Iris immediately advises him to run, as no one understands Hibana's power better than her. Sure enough, the moment Shinra burst into flames and rushed forward, that monstrous gaze extinguished it again, even paralyzing him. Shinza was trampled and did not understand why he failed. Hibana reveals that he is suffering from hypothermia. The heat released by Jinsith covering him causes blood vessels to dilate and blood pressure to drop, with insufficient blood to the brain, causing dizziness and collapse. A hero defeated by dizziness, how hilarious. How could Shinra endure this humiliation? He struggles to his feet. If that wasn't a terrible power, he's endured all negative effects before. He bravely says he is a hero, brave to challenge, so he'll fight. The flame on Hibana's fan immediately shoots up. Shinra has also regained his strength, saying he will shatter the opponent's wrong perceptions and delusions. For Hibana, she can die, she can be depraved but not wrong. She quickly attacks brutally, and his inability to unleash his full power makes Shinra fail again. Doesn't he realize he's just struggling? And as if to make him understand the problem, Hibana attacks again. Her fire technique even materializes into petals carrying horrific heat, throwing Shinra into confusion. How can he fight against such increasingly strong suppression? Please stop, sister. Answering Iris, Hibana says if she wants that, try praying to God. God certainly can help her control herself. There is no God and no hero in the world. Prayer can give you peace. People are saved by that. There is no salvation in this world. For Hibana, it's obvious because if there was, why did her convent suffer that tragedy? The convent adopted the orphans. She, the nuns, and the other children all worshipped God. Hibana did not, and she is still alive, living very well while those she considered family all died. That proves that people can only stand on their own. Since then, Hibana believes that not saving yourself but praying for vague salvation is a mistake. That foolish passivity is even the path to extinction. Shinra says he understands Hibana's feeling. His life was also destroyed by that fire. But this sympathy only makes her more frantic and violent. But Shinra seems to be stimulated by something. He resists successfully, saying that unlike Hibana, he won't surrender to fate and fall again. Therefore, he will save her. This devotion greatly surprises Hibana, but the moment of weakness is fleeting. If you want to be for me, accept burning to death. There are destructive flames, but also flames that light our way. There are no heroes in the world, so I will be the hero, and you are just a victim. Shinra loudly answers Hibana, then bravely rushes forward, using his punch to shatter her obsession. Hibana was very good at experiments even as a child. She created beautiful flowers from fire and other substances. This made the children in the convent greatly admire her, happy looking at the flowers. The one who liked it most was Iris. But the nuns saw this and immediately scolded Hibana, because the fire granted by God is not a thing to play with, as it could pose a danger to others. With the granted power, does Hibana truly not believe in the divine? She once believed very much, but then she didn't anymore, because the very fire she thought was beautiful destroyed everything. So what can she do but become a devil? Which God granted this wicked power. Since then, Hibana has acted like a real devil, taking every opportunity to research the fire to climb to a high position. She doesn't care why. Is there no hero? Hibana was once a hero, the older sister to all the children at the convent. She achieved that through fire, but that same fire took everything from her. Her conscience and her meaning in life. However, with the same fate, Shinra is right. She is also a victim of an accident. Having someone understand this makes Jinsith feel like she's escaped her chains. So there are heroes in this world. I will be by your side when you need me. Hibana blushed but angrily said, "Who gave you permission to save me?" "I don't need your permission. I do it because I like it." Like what? Hibana's eyes turn into hearts. She says she won't fight Shinra anymore because she lost. Is this a lovely confession? She even created beautiful fire flowers for her younger sister again. Her soul has probably blossomed similarly. The fight ended, but both sides suffered losses. Iris proposed organizing a party between the two companies. Hibana also said it was like she had asked Company 8 to attack to train her subordinates. Why is she so easy to talk to all of a sudden? Because I find myself liking you a little. Huh? And so, the training of the two companies reached the other companies. However, they thought it was just a smokescreen, and the Master Obi finally acted. At this moment, Company 5 and Company 8 are meeting, celebrating the success of the training, all thanks to Hibana's crush on him. Her subordinates get kicked if they complain. It seems she's only easygoing with Shinra. Hibana later had a direct talk with Obi. However, the handshake between the two companies was established only on her personal capacity. Regarding the organization behind it, the Hajime Corporation, Hyben is unable to resist. The utility of this cooperation immediately showed. Hibana shared her most important research finding. In some cases, spontaneous human combustion involves human hands. This is hard for Obi to forgive. Shinza cleared the knot. Hibana also considered if the convent accident was arranged by someone. If so, she will not overlook it. For a common goal, the two tighten their relationship, but the next investigation may be difficult. Because the artificial spontaneous human combustion cases Hibana mentioned all originated from Shinkuku district of Company 1. However, Obi decides to still investigate using the rookie inspection system, allowing newly joined fire soldiers to be transferred to other companies, and the main mission is assigned to Shinra and Arthur. They advance to the Holy Soul Temple's most prestigious company with 3 members from other companies, confronting Burns and also approaching the truth about Shinra's family 12 years ago. He wants everything to be quick and unexpectedly proposes a sparring match. Although aggressive, this may be the most effective way to greet them. Since they are all new trainees, the sparring also includes others. The first to fight is Zaga of Company 2. Being enthusiastically provoked by ZK, he burst out with immense power, and thanks to him, he overcame his shyness and attacked. It would be too bad if a fire soldier joined just to extinguish his own fire. The incoming cannonballs are not accurate enough compared to ZK's movement. With just one shake of the Kazim's bell, the fire was neutralized. The power of the weapon is so terrible that it can freeze even fire. Burns surprisingly personally received both Arthur and Shinra. This is quite insulting, and the immature Arthur wants to fight alone. But Burns only calls out his arm. His slash couldn't even scratch him. Conversely, Burns's counterattack made Arthur retreat 10 steps. While he was stunned in disbelief, Shinra rushed forward strongly. Fight then fight, don't think about anything. His attack power shakes the whole stadium. Shinra is full of energy, continuously striking and even using his strongest ultimate move. But Burns uses his own body to block it without being shaken at all. Why did you become a fire soldier? My mother and brother died, so I must find the cause of the spontaneous combustion to prevent it from happening again. I want to be a fire hero. The answer seems to satisfy Boone, and he immediately attacks. Without even using the power of fire, Burns sent the boy flying. But both Shinza and Arthur were welcomed by Company 1. Hibana's experiment results also show that the core of artificial combustion victims all contain an insect. Shinra's group only has 1 month to investigate Company 1. But Takahisa and Hibana, using a visit as an excuse to come every day? What else can they investigate? However, Company 1 doesn't seem to care about them. From the combustion incidents that only occur in secret places that new fire soldiers can access or sealed fire scenes, the possibility of the perpetrator being in the fire soldier team is very high. Shinra's chance to act has arrived. He is under Commander Fallum, and Company 1's forces are indeed numerous. Everyone is deployed for a mass combustion incident with 5 victims. But they are so many that Arthur and Shinra are responsible for guarding. What can they do? However, Shinra suddenly had a premonition. The man he saw was released by a mysterious person and immediately spontaneously combusted. This is indeed a rare opportunity for Shinra, and he immediately chases after him, leaving the work with the victim to Company 1. He chases very quickly, but at the end of the road he sees the seniors of Company 1. Why is this? Arthur intended to fight immediately, but Shinra surprisingly stopped him. Tamaki informs the 2 commanders that she helped all the combustion victims rest in peace. Could someone as cute and innocent as her be an accomplice to the wicked? Shinra stops Arthur because they don't have enough evidence to act. Their only gain is witnessing the victim being harmed firsthand. This is terrible, and now they need to directly investigate those 2 commanders. That horrific act against their comrades is unforgivable at any cost. Shinra and Arthur want to check Kazim's room. and they found the jar containing the bug. Frustratingly, the commander also appears with a scary face. Will silencing the witnesses happen? But no, Kazim says he's also tracking this case, and that is the specimen he collected. Shinra and Arthur's suspicion proves the perpetrator also wore a cloak similar to his. When Shinra was chasing, and besides Kazim, only ZK was there. Kazim recounts that 2 months ago, a group of children also spontaneously combusted, which is very unusual. He found the bug there, and who can accept that even young children are not spared? In another development, 2 children are on their way home. Tamaki appears and talks about the combustion, saying there's a sure way for them not to become victims and tells them to follow her. She acts under ZK's order. He mentioned that sure way with the attitude of a kind person, excessively kind and full of deceit. ZK asks Tamaki to go outside, but she wants to stay and witness the miracle he's about to perform. ZK is delighted and hugs her, a tight, affectionate hug, so tight that ZK faints. Afterwards, the mother, who had the most potential to fight back, is the first victim of the demon bug. She came here worried about her child but is superfluous, quickly killed without mercy. Arthur and Shinra, although not allowed, still want to act with Kazim, hoping they can save the crying children here. Among ZK's despicable words, "Come on kids, be strong, don't fear the fire, and you'll overcome it. Isn't that what you want?" Tamaki wakes up, surprised by all this, unable to believe her admired commander is such a pervert. He beats her, saying he won't stop until he helps the preacher find the navigator. ZK is the passionate type, but this passion is revealed to be completely sick. Tamaki must watch the next child being selected, unlikely to escape death. Shinra is trying to search everywhere. He seems to sense the boy's agonizing screams. "Go for it, kid, you can do it, fight." The cheer sounds disgusting, but suddenly a strange thing happens. The fire dissipates, the boy falls, and is fine. ZK realizes he has found the navigator, but following this success, he wants to continue his savage actions on all the children. Since there was success, the path is not wrong. How can one navigator compare to having more? Tamaki painfully screams for help. Her effort helps Shinra see the abandoned building, but at the same time it makes ZK extremely angry. He says Tamaki has committed a great sin. She prevented the children from fighting, preventing them from achieving their rightful glory. Repeated brutal blows are launched, shattering Tamaki's heart. CK even decides to kill her immediately. Luckily, a beam of light descends from the sky. Shinra appears, kicking ZK directly in the face, brutally stomping him into the floor. Tamaki is saved and cries like never before. The shock she received today was too great, but ZK has stood up and counterattacked. His punch is extremely strong and fast. Luckily, Shinra has defeated a captain before. He quickly counterattacks. His every kick is incredibly effective. He locks ZK's arm in close combat, bursts into flames, and declares that the hero Shinra has captured the spontaneous combustion criminal. However, ZK immediately counterattacks, saying he will never run away and will continue to advance. He delivers heavy blows, but Shinra can accept the way he advances, quickly launching a fierce counterattack. The two are fighting equally. Suddenly, the demon bug reacts to Shinra's flame. ZK realizes it's trying to return to the flame. So Shinra is an even more important target than the navigator. He is designated as the third special character the preacher is looking for. ZK decides to capture the incomplete flame right in front of him, the purest flame sought by countless children for a long time. Hearing that, Shinra becomes even angrier, especially since ZK considers the previously sacrificed children to be mere trash. He immediately concentrates his strength to attack, but his anger makes him reckless, and he is blown away. With determination, CK's blows become stronger. Shinra is continuously hit by his punches, and what is happening? Is he taking the opportunity to grope a girl? It seems this is not the first time the victim Tamaki has been treated this way. Please save ZK. This sentence makes Shinra calm down and become serious. He thinks about the weakness between himself and his opponent, deciding to utilize the terrain and win by mobility. ZK has used all his power. Conversely, Shinra rushes up like a missile, and after colliding, immediately rockets in another direction. He skillfully avoids the opponent's attacks, finds an opportunity for a fierce counterattack, and then strikes with his all-out attack. The shock causes a sky-shattering explosion. ZK is defeated. Shinra also becomes overheated due to using too much oxygen in his body. ZK still wants to fight for the preacher, wanting to find a suitable child to increase the number of organization members, create infernals, and return humanity to the flame, which probably means jumping into a fire pit. The preacher has distorted the will of the Holy Sun. Their objective is to turn all humanity into fire, engulfing this entire wrong world in the flame of salvation, turning Earth into a second sun, and they won't even live. So stupid. Yet ZK was very happy when saying these words, even somewhat frantic, saying he would teach all the children born the preacher's lesson. This makes Shinra immediately think of his brother, and could this be the answer to the whole problem? He doesn't know. But ZK has burst out with power again, power that burns his own life, using it to win. A resonant bell suddenly rings. Kazim appears in time to control the situation, freezing the stubborn person who was once his best friend. Another commander is also present at the scene, and what they just discovered may affect the whole country. Suddenly, a beam of light shoots straight at the iceberg, piercing ZK. He was silenced before being taken back to reveal anything. The mysterious assassins continue to attack. They determined from the beginning that fire soldiers are the enemy. Kazim's friend, the commander, even got shot in the arm. Shinra quickly takes orders to create a smokescreen to block the enemy's attack vision. He then determines the target's position. Kazim immediately directs Tamaki to counterattack. Her fire strikes the other side and Kazim freezes. Pretending to open a path for his troops to cross, the exposed position makes the assassins realize they lost the advantage and they retreat simultaneously. This is what Kazim wanted because with his team all injured, they would have difficulty fighting. Although they couldn't pursue, Shinra's goal has been identified. The preacher. After all, Kazim doesn't understand if the passionate ZK was turned into a scoundrel, or if he was a passionate scoundrel from the start, but they remain friends. Knowing that Company 8's investigation into the companies has achieved results, Kazim wants to cooperate for the next target, the preacher, to avenge his friend. Many things happened afterwards. Company 1 is overwhelmed with reports about the incidents, so the rookie training is cancelled. Arthur went missing while tracking ZK, so they must try to find him now. Shinra feels like he's returned home. Surprisingly, Tamaki also appears at Company 8. She is significantly involved in the recent incident and is temporarily suspended from Company 1. I wonder if she and Hibana will be jealous of each other. The subsequent meeting of all the companies is held, proving this incident is extremely serious. Artificial combustion, the white-cloaked assassin organization, and that heretical cult all suggest humanity is facing a mysterious veil regarding its combustion disaster. The meeting is held at the most important place in the Sun Empire. The Perpetual Energy Plant, and a plant that can supply energy to all of Tokyo, is not simple. At this place, the Hajima Corporation has informed Hibana that she is too close to Company 8. The captains of all 8 companies then have an audience with the Emperor of the Tokyo Empire. He says that there is clearly a secret organization operating, threatening the safety of the country. All companies must do something in the name of the Holy Sun. Waka, who is considered the strongest fire soldier, laughs at these words. He doesn't like the divine, and such an attitude towards the Imperial Army is extremely disrespectful. However, Waka says his company is only a collection of low-level common people. They have never been loyal to the Emperor or the Holy Sun, so Company 7 will act on its own will. Luckily, the remaining companies do not act like Waka. Shinra is the first one the Emperor names, asking about his pure flame. It is considered the first spark the Holy Sun used to create the world, and this flame is helping the entire Amaterasu plant operate. The captain of Company 3 says the preacher is trying to possess all these pure flames. So his real goal is power, which means Shinra will naturally be hunted, and the captain says he will protect him. But how can Shinra accept? Because the fire soldier's job is to protect the people, and because he is Hajima's representative. Hibana realizes the captain has no good intentions. Obi says he will do his best to protect his teammate. His credibility is very high, even in front of the Emperor. Arthur returns afterwards, the best fighting partner for Shinra, but for him, the preacher looking for him seems to be a good thing. Surprisingly, Joker really comes saying the pure flame can create the world, but is also the root of the world's destruction. He didn't come to fight. Instead, he gives news as a reward for Shinra's effort. His brother, Sho, is the commander of the Knights of the Ashen Flame, working for the preacher. This news greatly shocks Shinra. He doesn't even see Joker leave. He leaves the saying that demons only belong in hell forever. The work of tracking down the preacher begins afterwards. Company 8 will re-examine all fire incident information to find clues. For Shinra, he has chosen to confront his brother, because if Sho has gone astray, that is how he fulfills his promise to his mother. And during the meal, he decides to tell all to his comrades. The information from Joker is not necessarily accurate, but Obi asks Shinra if he wants to believe his brother is alive, which is natural. So both Obi and Takehisa say they will change their action strategy based on that information, which makes Shinra feel truly warm. A few years ago in the Tokyo Imperial Armed Forces, both Maki and Takehisa came from this force. Then his closest, only friend spontaneously combusted, asking Takehisa to kill him immediately while he was still able to control himself. Takehisa couldn't strike his friend but could only watch him die. The only memory left is the purified gun. TJ once said that perhaps victims shot by this gun would find more peace. Obi was still a firefighter. Both witnessed elite soldiers handling infernals only for scores and prestige. Not to lay victims to rest, or to comfort their families as people believed. Obi and Takehisa formed a team to resolve lower-score infernal cases, accepting possible penalties for overstepping. These stolen cases caused Obi to lose his medal and Takehisa to be discharged. In return, Company 8 was slowly established, operating with its true purpose. The first case Company 8 handled was a white-clad infernal. After the victim was laid to rest, their company quickly cleared the scene. The incident was in Company 7's territory. Simon hates being disturbed, especially by the Emperor's restrictive laws. He was not friendly to Company 8, even believing the evangelist was a fabrication. Simon's absurdly reckless attitude angered Shinra, who challenged him, just as a spontaneous combustion was reported. Simon first dealt with it by spinning a baton, then throwing it to destroy multiple houses. He used another to fly. Simon quickly reached the victim, using more batons to smash countless surrounding structures. "Old man, you have no destructive power left." After saying this, Simon struck the victim's core. The man died with a relieved expression, having caused no harm. Simon's way of laying souls to rest was strange yet humane. All citizens deeply respected him for it. "Let me bear the burden." A festival-like funeral followed. Destroyed buildings were rebuilt. Company 7 always arranged shelter for displaced citizens. Their enthusiasm made Shinra and the other Company 8 members want to help. News of the two companies reached the White-Clad. The evangelist's order was annihilation, bringing terrifying demon bugs. As Simon seemed to accept working with Company 8, he and Conro met Shinra. The lieutenant was a third gen pushing his ignition limit. Despite carbonization, he still tried to use his power. Through these events, members of both companies grew closer. The next night, while walking, Simon personally overheard Obi and Takehisa plotting to turn someone into an infernal. He erupted with terrible, explosive power. The two immediately fled, feigning ignorance. Simon, unable to let it go, chased and fiercely attacked them upon catching up. "What's wrong? You just said you turned that old man into an infernal. What are you talking about?" "Don't play dumb, I heard it myself." "So you two have a conspiracy to bring chaos to this town." Shinra arrived in time, using multiple blows to stop Simon's attack, hoping he would calm down. But how could Simon calm down? Although he trusted Company 8, he couldn't have been mistaken about what he saw. "Come at me, you bastards, I'll destroy all of you." And so, the white-clad assassin's divisive trick succeeded. Takehisa was the first to draw his gun and fight. Obi ran to prepare for something else. Maki could temporarily stop Simon with her flame suppression power, but his flame control was on par with hers. Maki resorted to martial arts. Shinra tried to assist, but she was immediately thrown into him. One move from Simon took out both. Takehisa's incoming bullets were instantly reversed. Simon, possessing both second and third gen powers, was too strong. Takehisa had Arthur and Tamaki charge. His supporting fire was blocked. Simon's martial arts easily beat Tamaki. Arthur suffered the same fate, becoming a shield. After a successful defense, Simon countered. A powerful slash cut through the stillness, hitting Takehisa and Arthur undefended. "Is that all, Company 8? Don't bully my team. Let's have a duel between the two leaders." Obi's free time was usually spent continuously working out. He arrived like an armored beast, blocking all of Simon's fierce fireballs. "Why don't you extinguish the fire?" "Don't tell me." "I have no pyrokinetic ability. What? Simon was shocked but jumped to strike Obi's mask. What? You're not afraid of fire? I am. It's incredibly hot. While answering, Obi constantly attacked like a fortress. He was remarkably able to push Simon back. You understand fire, so why harm that old man? I'm afraid you've misunderstood. Hearing this, Simon immediately used his ultimate move. He had seen it with his own eyes and couldn't accept the explanation. Continuing his attack. After the explosion, Obi was safe, telling him not to keep bullying the weak. I've trained myself every day. He continuously threw extinguishing grenades. He quickly charged forward aggressively. But Simon confidently held Obi back. The grenades limited Simon's vision and power. Obi, with his body arsenal, kept attacking relentlessly. He skimped on team salaries to buy this gear, waiting for this moment. Just as he was tripped and seemingly finished, he stubbornly counterattacked with his iron helmet. Finally took a hit. Don't you know how to retreat? I cannot retreat. I am fulfilling my duty as captain. This statement astonished all Company 8 members. Obi's performance truly moved them. They couldn't believe their non-pyrokinetic captain was so strong. And his desperate fighting style. But Takahisa said it was time for this meaningless fight to stop. Conro heard the news and appeared. Obi is truly amazing. But Obi's greatness made the situation harder for Simon to accept. Therefore, he was even more determined to destroy him, using his ultimate move. Conro stepped in to stop his protege from killing. But Simon recounted what he had seen. You were mistaken. I can't believe it! Simon angrily shouted, resolved to strike. But unexpectedly, Conro chose to use his power to stop him. Please hear Company 8 out. Seeing the carbonization spread on his subordinate, Simon decided to withdraw his anger. The true story was then revealed clearly. Obi and Takahisa were just buying groceries at the time. Shinra was asked by someone to call Simon to an alley to witness the plot. Why this? Simon quickly went to ask the townspeople. It was all out of respect for Conro. Two had a history from before either of them was a fire soldier. Both had powers, but were exhausted during a massive spontaneous combustion event. Just then, a demon appeared. Yes, a demon, not a regular infernal. It was so dangerous that Conro decided to knock Simon unconscious. Though pushing his ignition limit, he used his power to confront the demon. Simon woke up the next morning to find Conro's body beginning to carbonize. He regretted not fighting alongside him. With Conro's health affected, who would look after Asakusa? It's you, Simon. Later that day, the fire soldiers appeared. Company 4 Captain Soichi said the Empire wanted to recruit them as Company 7, fearing their rare power would incite revolt. Thus, Company 7's lack of loyalty to the Emperor is understandable. Both sides were merely using each other, one to appease, the other wanting real power for freedom of action. What Simon saw in the market now were many people arguing, even fighting. He stopped them, finding everyone confused, with countless mistaken identity incidents in one night. Even Hina and Hika were arguing, believing the other was not their true friend. Someone was impersonating them. Though their fighting was cute, chaos was spreading. Suddenly, Arthur jumped in, kneeing Hika in the face and beating her until she fainted. This brutal, inhuman act was immediately punished by other Company 8 members. But Arthur claimed it was a disguised old dwarf who reverted to his true form, which Conro found unbelievable. The facial alteration was done by a white-clad assassin. Their main plan was next, turning Asakusa into a sea of fire again. Simon couldn't understand. Was it a mythical disguised demon? He suddenly saw infernal flames everywhere and panicked. The white-clad exploited the chaos to attack. Company 8, they quickly tried to evacuate citizens, but it was too late. The surprise attack was too strong. Even Maki's power couldn't extinguish the fire. She could only render it harmless, fortunately. Shinra immediately charged to fight, but was attacked again before locating the enemy. The arrow had an unpredictable trajectory, and the assassins used the chaos too well, making him hard to track. Fortunately, Shinra had Arthur. If the enemy focused on distracting him, he could guide Arthur to the target. The imposter was being interrogated, but instead of talking, he used a flame bug to kill himself. Unfortunately, the realization seemed too late. Chaos was spreading everywhere. Destroying infernals was simple, but calming the citizens was not, leaving Simon feeling helpless. Shinra was suddenly attacked and fell, but was unharmed. He tracked the assassin only to fall into an ambush by another. This one had strong close combat skills and quickly subdued Shinra. The first assassin drew his bow and fired an arrow. Fortunately, Arthur blocked it in time. This one had strong close combat skills and quickly subdued Shinra. The first assassin drew his bow and fired an arrow. Fortunately, Arthur blocked it in time. Shinra immediately counterattacked. A direct 2-on-2 fight began. The knife-wielding assassin charged. His flapping cloak screened the archer's surprise attack. Unfortunately, that demon arrow was still blocked by Arthur. Compared to the enemy's coordination, the Company 8 pair seemed unharmonious. They were quickly kicked away, and the archer suppressed them with continuous arrows. The swordsman charged at Shinra. They accepted a true direct fight, but the archer's explosive arrows were no longer easy to handle. Even the remaining assassins' blade speed was incredibly fast, leaving Arthur and Shinra completely on the defensive. The attack showed no sign of stopping. Just as the swordsman aimed for the finish, the two coordinated to knock him back. They had to cooperate to win. Shinra just wanted to separate the two. He'd use his speed for the archer. To solve their vision problem, Shinra would fight from high above. With a clear strategy, the battle changed completely. Neither Shinra nor Arthur was weak. They quickly approached the archer. They used the swordsman's protection to switch targets. The archer took the first hit. Shinra quickly switched to attack the swordsman. The archer was subdued and paid the price to rescue him. Their defeat was clear. The swordsman told the archer to retreat, took out a demon bug, and calmly swallowed it. Meanwhile, Conroe was looking for Simon. The Company 7 captain was defeating Infernals in a very bad mood. In any disaster, typically 10% of people can stay calm, 20% panic, and 70% are too shocked to react. The citizens desperately needed a leader. Conroe found Simon. He heard his protege demand that he use his unusual calmness to resolve the immediate chaos. But no one else, only Simon, was Asakusa's spiritual leader. Encouraged by Conroe, he resolved to act. He controlled the tallest tower, detached it, flew high, and shouted, "Oh, Asakusa!" The people cheered. Simon continued, saying countless imposters had infiltrated the citizens. Impossible to distinguish, and this was the main cause of the chaos. But don't worry, the people cheered, thinking Simon had a solution. His solution: just go ahead and fight each other. We can't lose to the enemy, go beat those bastards. Company 7 will handle all the damage later. Hearing these overbearing words, everyone cheered in unison, as the solution was so simple. Let's have a fighting festival, everyone. Simon is cool, and the spirit of Asakusa's people, especially around his town, is no less cool. The assassin who swallowed the demon bug transformed, accepting the loss of self to fight for a ridiculous cause. The demon Conroe once saw was just like this guy. Terrifying, countless brawls were happening across Asakusa, which foiled another assassin's deceitful strategy. Company 7, following Simon's command, began operations, spreading out to extinguish the fires. Simon saw a light source in the distance, spotted the demon, and immediately identified it as the long-sought fight target. Shinra also recognized the demon as the one he sensed during the old fire. He was momentarily distracted, but Arthur quickly charged out, intercepting its attack. Shinra was furious, extremely furious, and seemed to activate something on his feet. He was terrified, hearing the archer say he shouldn't be a peacekeeper since he carried the flame that destroys humanity. Shinra rushed to help Arthur, but the demon quickly gathered a powerful fireball that knocked both away, then swiftly chased and hit Shinra with a powerful punch. Arthur's sword couldn't pierce its skin. Instead, the demon's claw tore his flesh. Fortunately, someone arrived to provide backup and prevent them from being attacked further. Simon appeared, claiming the demon was his opponent. Recounting Conroe's story, he wanted to avenge his friend himself. Many were looking for Hika. She suddenly appeared in a burst of flame, surprisingly cursing those who tempted her for not providing enough promised candy. "I betrayed Hina for you guys." Hina immediately joined her friend, Happy, and invited Hika to destroy the bad guys. The twin girl's power was extraordinary. In Simon's fight, he easily blocked all attacks, easily tripped it, and blocked rocket-like attacks with one hand. His skill was clearly superior. Simon lunged for the finishing blow, but was repelled. Its skin was too hard. Conroe had needed to dig a giant hole to defeat it before. Simon decided to use equivalent power, launching a weapon straight at the demon. His goal was to snatch it and take it to another spacious area. The sky. Conroe was confident in his protege, but the enemy archer unexpectedly struck. Conroe saw it and immediately tried to stop it. Conroe's body condition didn't allow it. Using fire immediately caused him pain and he fell. The arrow rapidly pursued the unsuspecting Simon. Conroe was extremely worried but helpless. Who can save him now? Shinra's feet suddenly reacted. He heard Conroe's voice telepathically. They had promised to support each other when needed. Turning, he quickly unleashed his power to chase the arrow, which was already very high, following Simon. Shinra was forced to use all his power. With terrifying speed, he caught up and struck. But the archer said his fire was useless, it was a demon's flame, and the arrow had a demon's blessing. Shinra realized what she meant before. Don't be presumptuous, my flame is used to protect humanity. Shinra was trying to overcome his destiny. Many people were watching. They hoped he would succeed. The archer knew if he failed, Shinra would be forced to join them. He didn't need to confront his complex. He was a hero, but wasn't blindly trying to prove it. If he couldn't break it, a simple kick by Shinra deflected the arrow. The flame could still be used. Simon was alerted. He had reached the necessary height, recalled his weapon, and launched his strongest attack straight at the demon, scorching it. I don't care who you are. This is my town. Get out. Simon then used Conroe's ultra-powerful move, piercing the enemy. The power turned the moon red, marking the evangelist's campaign as a complete failure. Reconstruction was familiar to Asakusa's people. They immediately started the next day in good spirits. Unfortunately, the Company 8 wanted to investigate was burned by the evangelist to destroy evidence. They could only return. Before that, to prove their established friendship, Simon invited everyone to drink traditional Japanese sake. The evangelist's side gained one thing: the demon's flame Shinra carried, more precious than the pure flame often mentioned. This was what the evangelist desired most. After the report, she decided to join the next operation personally. Hejima Industries was forced to send someone to establish a science team for Company 8 due to previous artificial combustion incidents. This was a direct order from the Emperor. The man was Joker's accomplice, his true identity a mystery. His appearance immediately raised suspicion for Obi and Hibana. As a scientist, he tried to grab Shinra's feet for research, only to be stomped on by Hibana. Company 8 also wanted to recruit the most talented mechanic Vulcan, who hated fire soldiers. The heavy responsibility fell on Shinra and Arthur. Perhaps Obi hoped the two passionate young men could succeed where money, status from others failed. This caught Victor's attention. He found Company 8 as strange as rumored and thought they might be useful for his goals. Shinra's group arrived in normal clothes, stated their identities, and were warmly welcomed. Still standing there? Get out. Continuous iron cans were thrown, almost splitting Shinra's and Arthur's heads. Fortunately, Vulcan was slightly gentlemanly towards Iris inside. Just as the two young men were about to erupt in anger, a boy, Vulcan's apprentice, appeared. Thanks to the boy, Shinra's group met the mechanic, who called him a jerk and kept throwing cans. There was nothing more to discuss. Thanks to the boy, Shinra's group met the mechanic, who called him a jerk and kept throwing cans. There was nothing more to discuss. Company 8 is different. I'll try my best to help. Though he didn't know why he trusted Shinra, he brought him in. He kept getting hit by Lena's cans, though she punished him for his presumptuousness. Shinra's group witnessed Vulcan's skill, assembling machines like drumming, then kicking the machine away because he accidentally damaged it. How dare you enter here? Throw it out. Hand it back. Shinra was surprised by Vulcan's smile, but the tea cans were just weapons thrown directly at him. Arthur suffered the same fate. Before they finished suffering, an old nuisance arrived, quickly souring Vulcan's mood. The Company 3 captain. This Hejima agent was isolating materials to force Vulcan to work for them. How could he accept? Giovanni warned that if he didn't comply with this final notice, worse things would happen. Die like my father and grandfather? I don't know what you're saying. Don't play dumb, you traitor. This was likely their old feud and perhaps why Vulcan initially hated fire soldiers. Giovanni called Vulcan's dream ridiculous. Vulcan, in turn, cursed him for chasing power and status, calling him unqualified to judge others. The two found no common ground. Shinra proposed Vulcan join Company 8. Unlike other companies, Company 8's true purpose was only to help people. Vulcan didn't agree, but feeling a little better, He said he'd show them a special device created by him, his father, and grandfather. Not merely a machine, once activated, it showed everyone an image of the ocean. Did you know the world once had over 1 million animal species? Images of dense forests and skies full of birds continued. Now they were all gone, and Iris's tears streamed down. Vulcan said Amaterasu only supplied enough energy for the Empire's people. He wanted to produce even stronger energy. Reviving extinct animals was his wild dream, a dream that made Shinra respect him, realizing Vulcan was a perfect fit for his team. Vulcan, please, go meet my captain, just once. Sadly, Shinra's sincere request was rejected by Vulcan again. He didn't want even the slightest connection with Hajime. His father and grandfather died of spontaneous human combustion at the same time. He suspected Giovanni, his grandfather's disciple, for this crime. Giovanni joined Hajime after their death, despite a long-standing feud. Just as Shinra was about to give up, he suddenly heard the Company 3 captain's voice telling someone to kill Vulcan. Shinra's feet reacted strangely. With this intuition, he decided to stay there. Shinra told Arthur and Iris about his intuition, but seeing Giovanni only coming to recruit Vulcan, they seemed disbelieving. However, Shinra insisted that the intuition had appeared in Asakusa and helped him save people. He asked Arthur and Iris to quickly warn the mechanic inside. He would use his secret advantage from above to guard against the enemy. Indeed, Giovanni was now preparing his team for an attack. The Company 3 members shed their outer clothes, revealing they were all Evangelist followers. They quickly surrounded Vulcan's workshop with a huge formation, somehow bypassing Shinra entirely. Shinra himself was attacked by Giovanni. He escaped with his flying ability. Unfortunately, the enemy didn't give up, and in tracking the long-range attack, Shinra fell into a trap. Giovanni hit him. The continuous 2 million volt electric current was unbearable, and he quickly collapsed. Giovanni then reported back that they had captured the important target. The key Vulcan held was equally important to the organization. Arthur had forgotten his weapon. He asked Vulcan for help, revealing a ridiculous secret. The more he acted like a knight, the stronger his power became. Arthur then appeared with a horse, or rather a horse's head, and the sword he summoned was surprisingly powerful. Excalibur now had a clear form. One slash destroyed all the enemy's illusions, leaving only 2 real ones. One of them immediately drew his weapon and attacked. The illusions, which turned out to be fire, were also cut down by Arthur. Arthur the Horsehead Knight had never been so cool. He made the mace-wielding guy extremely apprehensive, but suddenly the illusion of Arthur appeared right in front of him, telling Arthur to look at himself, what he looked like. Arthur truly looked back, realizing that his appearance was not that of a knight at all. And sure enough, as Vulcan said, he fought according to his mood, was quickly attacked and sent flying far away by the opponent. Realizing it was all a fire trick, anyway, the dear Fire Guardian was killed by the opponent. Knight Arthur stood up to fight again, even though his sword had become weaker. Vulcan observed the situation and immediately told Lena and Zu to run quickly, that he would stay behind and risk his life. But unexpectedly the girl aimed right at his chest and attacked, and did not spare Yu. She revealed herself as an inside agent of the Evangelist, demanding Vulcan hand over the key to Amaterasu if he did not cooperate, saying it was either that or prepare to face death. Giovanni had arrived at the workshop. Arthur was still struggling and couldn't stop him, facing Vulcan. He used more cruel methods, attacking Zu, even ready to kill him if Vulcan did not compromise. Vulcan still said he didn't know anything about a key, and was continuously and brutally beaten by Giovanni until he fainted, finally forcing him to verify that he truly had no information. Then Giovanni only had one way left: to search for the key in the most precious possession of Vulcan's family, and every hammer blow struck down on that dream shattered his heart. This Evangelist's organization is indeed extraordinary, and its members are also very abnormal. Giovanni's steady and emotionless movements made him look truly terrifying. Like a psycho, yet he really did find the key. Another psycho girl, Hibana, surprisingly showed up at this moment, thanks to the wiretap on her body that helped her detect what was happening here in time. Immediately upon being rescued, he acted, quickly flying to Arthur's battle, delivering upper kicks to defeat all the illusions. Facing the mace-wielding guy's attack, he also used his speed to charge right through. Just as Giovanni held the key and was about to finish off Vulcan, he appeared in time, delivering an extremely powerful knee strike straight to the madman's face. "Don't you dare touch my mechanic!" But at this moment, He was facing two enemies. Giovanni said he would capture him again, that he wouldn't be able to escape. Outside, Arthur was still struggling greatly with the illusions. Suddenly, Hibana arrived to assist and shatter them. She was very skilled. Knowing that those illusions were created by causing a temperature imbalance in the air dot at this moment, she used her petals to heat up the entire area, making that impossible, completely destroying the enemy's trick. Inside the workshop, Lisa started attacking. An Adelarm's strange fire technique was unexpectedly bound. Vulcan loudly shouted, demanding Iris activate the switch on the wall, just as Giovanni struck. A series of machines fell from the ceiling, affecting his attack, and even the generated magnetic field caused Lisa's fire technique to lose control, and he escaped danger. He quickly dashed forward to strike, and it seemed Giovanni's close combat was quite poor as he was knocked away. Outside the workshop, Sho appeared. Shinra stepped out, saw him, and was immediately stunned, then overjoyed. Sho, you are Sho, right? You are my younger brother, right? Sir and I are brothers? Shinra, seeing the similar face, no longer had any doubt, and was extremely delighted because his little Sho was so handsome, like an angel. From now on, I will keep my promise. I will protect Sho. I am your ally. Suddenly, at this moment, time seemed to freeze. Sho stepped forward to observe Shinra, recalled his brother, and felt that the form in front of him was too disgusting, immediately struck Shinra down, controlling him. He demanded Shinra submit. Arthur rushed over to save him, and was also hit by a slash that drew blood. Sho was too powerful, making it so that Shinra couldn't even see the sword's path. Shinra lost his ability to fight after a few more moves by Sho. In this campaign, the Evangelist faction achieved victory. The Amaterasu key was in their hands, and suddenly countless pieces of ash appeared in the space and continuous explosions rang out. Vulcan in the car assisted Shinra's escape from danger. Licht had arrived to help, quickly taking everyone to flee. But unexpectedly, before they could leave the workshop, they were blocked by Sheichi. However, Licht was not afraid at all. Suddenly an enemy attacked from under Sho's feet, and Joker quickly appeared. His fighting ability was truly terrifying, immediately repelling the opponent. Sho recognized who ambushed him, and the two immediately rushed into battle with each other. The boy's time-freezing ability did not work on Joker, and did he belong to another mysterious organization besides the Evangelist? After successfully rescuing Shinra's group, Joker immediately left. Information about Giovanni's betrayal and Sho's appearance was reported by Shinra to Obi. Yu was taken to the operating room for treatment, and Vulcan finally agreed to join Company 8. Shinra decided he had to do everything to bring Sho back to their side. Tamaki then came to Company 8. A meeting between representatives of the three companies compiled information on recent artificial human combustion, especially concerning Giovanni. The recent incident was reported up as someone having impersonated him. The mask indeed had an unexpected effect, and all three companies agreed they needed to find the Evangelist's base for a counterattack. This task was assigned to Victor, but everyone was apprehensive about the combat, unsure if they could defeat the enemy. Tamaki suggested Obi send the rookies to Captain Simon for training. Vulcan, joining Company 8, invented many new types of weapons, which was great for someone without abilities like Obi. Captain Simon training was simply countless battles. At this time, Shinra and Arthur had begun to learn to coordinate, but unfortunately, they were still far too inferior compared to a tough opponent like Captain Simon. This battle was only to assess the two boys' strength, and the shortcoming of each person was a final finishing move. Victor suddenly appeared and said he would solve this problem, talking about the technique of converging the flames in one direction and compressing them to increase damage. Captain Simon immediately practiced it, and the effect was better than expected. Shinra's firepower is incredibly strong but is diffused in many directions uselessly. So this technique could very well compensate for all his shortcomings, but that is extremely difficult for a third-generation fire soldier. The ability to control flames is considered a second-generation ability, so Captain Simon then taught Shinra martial arts, using his hands to control the mobile airflow within his body. Sure enough, this had an effect. The second time he practiced, the result was completely different, and Shinra's power increased terrifyingly. The mock battle then started again. Arthur's ability was already quite balanced. What was needed was just real combat to increase experience. A few days later, the preliminary training concluded. Captain Simon urged Shinra to try hard to protect his younger brother, and at this very moment, his legs reacted. Victor then investigated and found out the Evangelist's base was located in the Nether, the filthy land beneath Tokyo. Company 8 decided to deploy. This was a life-and-death battle. The Nether is the old subway network, now a dark land. As soon as they entered, smoke and dusty air greeted Company 8. The enemy, who could create illusions, quickly used various methods to separate them. After a short while, only Vulcan and Obi remained on Road 9. The Evangelist's faction then immediately deployed. The first to clash with the enemy were Tamaki and Irish, a very dangerous foe. After Maki was even more miserable. Facing a large number of enemies, they quickly rushed forward, but of course she was not weak at all. She also had weapons equipped by Vulcan, and proudly stated that she would strike them all down. The numerically strong opponent immediately used firepower, but unfortunately, those embers were too weak compared to her and were all blocked. Then, within the red fire there were also attached weapons, causing extremely great damage, and if Maki hadn't had those iron shield, it's feared she would have failed. She quickly used the iron shield to counterattack and defeat the enemy. It was incredibly powerful and moved very fast, and opponents who rushed into close combat were easily defeated by her. Maki's martial arts, learned from the military, were considered professional, and those amateur assassins could not resist her. In an instant, only one enemy remained, but it was a strong enemy who quickly summoned his iron mace, striking down with terrifying destructive power. Maki struggled greatly to dodge. She even quickly fell into a passive position, but at this moment, the iron shield once again proved its effectiveness, helping her launch a powerful counterattack, making the opponent suffer intensely, and the next move immediately knocked down the assassin. On Tamaki's side, the battle also quickly unfolded. She attacked, but her skill level was too immature compared to the opponent. Even in terms of damage, Atsao completely overwhelmed her. He said he would quickly kill her because she was a woman, and he had no interest in torturing her, being discriminated against. Tamaki immediately became angry, while the opponent launched a powerful attack. His powerful move was unleashed. Tamaki directly confronted it and knocked it away. She rushed towards Atsao and was mercilessly pinched by him. Oh my god! So good. The feeling of ecstasy caused him to become distracted and take a hit from Irish, after which he rose up wildly like the recent event, which truly enraged the two girls, who continuously beat him until Atsao completely collapsed, unable to get up. In another development, Hinawa was mumbling in the darkness when he was suddenly hit by an extremely powerful enemy attack. The hidden enemy thanked him for bringing the Devil's Flame to his side and quickly prepared to attack. It was the archer Atsao, and facing the shooter Hinawa, he also immediately opened fire. Shinra caught up with Victor. He was being restrained, and the enemy demanded that he follow him. He was unexpectedly struck down by Shinra, unleashing unimaginable speed, and after hearing the sound of gunfire, he immediately intended to go assist Hinawa. At this moment he was fighting extremely fiercely. His position seemed to have been exposed because the opponent was in the dark while he was in the light. With the firelight being too strong, it was very difficult to determine where Atsao was. These bullets were blocked by countless obstacles. The only way was to approach by continuously moving, but who knew that besides Atsao, there were two other enemies waiting for the right moment. Hinawa was attacked by Atsao on his way to search for the target. In this difficult, unyielding path, A's explosive arrows blocked all avoidance methods, causing him to be hit. However, Hinawa still had his secret weapon, swearing he would not surrender Shinra even if he died, and his shot carried incredibly terrifying destructive power and shockwaves. The bullet, amplified by Hinawa to the highest kinetic energy level, terrifyingly shattered the gun barrel immediately. He continuously took new guns, and even if the opponent dodged the bullet, the shockwave would make it difficult to breathe. Sure enough, Atsao counterattacked, but himself was already injured. He then quickly revealed his position and engaged in a one-on-one duel with Hinawa. The two assassins hiding outside were unable to intervene in the barrage of bullets. It was like two tanks firing at each other. The final result was that both Atsao and Hinawa were blown away by the shockwave. He was truly exhausted, but if he left his comrades to fight alone against those wolves, Hinawa couldn't feel at ease, once again forced himself up due to the responsibility of being the commander. The next shot then utilized the opponent's own flame to accelerate further, defeating Atsao. Hinawa was then completely exhausted, leaving the rest to his comrades. Facing the two waiting assassins himself, perhaps only death remained. Hinawa still tried to counterattack. The bullet pierced the enemy's head, but unfortunately, it was only an illusion. However, The shot also created a hole, enough for Arthur, who was observing from above, to appear in the battle below. He once again faced the illusion-using assassin, and with the thick smoke, it was truly even harder to deal with. But before that, Captain Simon training taught Arthur how to sense life on the battlefield. He also sensed the enemy's killing intent aimed at him, quickly assumed a stance and closed his eyes. The directly attacking illusions were ignored and caused no damage. Even if they rushed forward in greater numbers, it didn't confuse Arthur. Right at the moment the opponent intended to strike for real, he sensed the breath. A sword strike launched almost chopped off Hainawa's head. He was a little startled, but it turned out the real enemy was hiding behind that pillar, and had been struck down. The remaining assassin immediately fled. Tamaki and Irish, meanwhile, met Maki in a state of fear. Obi and Vulcan encountered two opponents, Giovanni and Lisa, making the mechanical engineer extremely awkward. He still loved Lisa even after everything, which made the girl feel very ashamed, but she was immediately threatened by Giovanni into trembling, seemingly controlled by him deep within her mind. Lisa immediately regained her cold face, quickly struck, and fortunately, Obi stepped forward, extremely resentful of the masked guy's attitude. Giovanni said that the evangelist knows everything, the root cause of the human combustion phenomenon that is destroying humanity. The truth about the demon insects and the meaning of the pure flame, the things that happened in the past and the present. He challenged Obi to overcome him to understand everything clearly. But very quickly, both he and Vulcan were easily bound by Lena's power. She was a chosen child and therefore had very special strength. But Obi said that the salvation from the fire that Giovanni spoke of was just a deception, and quickly took out a weapon to use to escape danger. But as soon as he rushed forward again, he was blocked by Lena. Her flame could automatically defend against all attacks. Obi still resiliently used the fire extinguisher, continuing to advance despite being knocked away. He wasn't joking. He said he was trying to rescue Lena from her own flame. Why does your face look so uneasy? I am not uneasy at all. Lena, having been hit where it hurts, continuously attacked Obi, knocking him down. How could he fight a monster like her with just a fire extinguisher? Therefore, Obi's determination surprised Lena, but she was forced to strike again. Do you accept sacrificing your own life to save someone? I do not look down on my own life, but I have the courage to use it for what I consider meaningful. The button activated by Obi detonated, shattering the octopus. He had pretended to passively endure the hits to place fire-extinguishing grenades all over its body. Lena fell down, very frightened. She had nothing left. Suddenly, Vulcan, just like in the past, once again reached out to catch her, causing Lena to call his name and cry. But Giovanni observed the situation and immediately took action, asking Lena if she loved Vulcan, who saved her from the fear of fire and brought her to him. He was the one who gave her everything, and he demanded she step towards him. Lena stood at a crossroads, unsure of what to do. That confused moment created an opportunity for Giovanni to quickly bind her tightly. Using a weapon to stab her directly, he used Lena's life to threaten Vulcan, throwing out a gun and demanding he shoot Obi. Vulcan, of course, didn't want to, but Giovanni truly intended to kill Lena, forcing Vulcan to choose, and Obi volunteered to sacrifice himself. The shot rang out, causing him to fall down. Giovanni then had the chance to laugh gleefully at Vulcan's foolishness, because even if he rescued Lena, she would still be his person. Unexpectedly, just as this villain was celebrating, Obi suddenly sat bolt upright. That hurt, you bastard. He quickly used surprising strength to tear up the subway cables and attack. Obi was not dead. It was all thanks to the physical damage-resistant armor equipped by Vulcan. The battle quickly erupted. Giovanni was originally Vulcan's grandfather's disciple, and he was also perfectly equipped with mechanical weapons. But at this moment, he switched on his combat mode. The penguin helmet could analyze all the magnetic fields the opponent emitted. Thanks to this, Vulcan could effectively dodge Giovanni's attacks, stab him directly, and shatter all that machinery, which, despite high damage, was a disorganized mess. But anyway, Vulcan's combat power was not strong. He pushed Giovanni back only because he wanted to separate him from Lisa, running over to rescue her. Obi, on the other hand, quickly grabbed a ladder and ran over to attack, using it ingeniously, finding an opportunity to trip the opponent. But Giovanni quickly activated his weapon, forcing him to retreat. This was an enemy that was too difficult to deal with. Shinra was very tired at this moment. The pain from the reaction of his feet made his condition extremely bad. It felt like something was trying to invade his soul. From that dark space, a devil's arm appeared, followed by its entire body moving towards Shinra. It seemed like it wanted to swallow him alive if Shinra hadn't heard his mother's call and sobered up. That demon was also the same demon that captured his younger brother Sho in the past. Overwhelmed by the trance, Shinra was very scared, but this vision showed that Seichi was just ahead, and he immediately bravely took a step. Giovanni also predicted that Shinra was connecting with Sho because he had the pure flame. That is the flame that allows one to penetrate any heat source, which is the power in the next stage of a fire soldier, rarely acquired. Shinra and Sho quickly confronted each other. He said he came here to fulfill his mother's promise to protect his little brother, but all that affection was truly like a joke to Sho. The boy said that there was no mother at all. If there was, it was the evangelist, not the dirty normal humanity that Shinra said. Shinra immediately became enraged after hearing that and rushed forward, correcting Sho that he was not allowed to speak ill of his mother. The battle then quickly took place at an incredibly terrifying speed. Shinra not only succeeded in dealing with Sho, but also easily blocked his sword path aimed directly at a bewildered victor nearby. "Don't you want to sit down and talk for a bit?" Sho did not answer, quickly continued to attack, and of course Shinra was not gentle either, counterattacking relentlessly. His speed was truly something that caused headaches. In combat, he became extremely difficult to deal with. Shinra therefore seized the opportunity and successfully bound Sho, throwing him away, but as soon as he closed in, the boy drew his sword. Shinra dodged it, but had strayed into the opponent's time-freezing domain. Sho then coldly attacked. A single slash sent Shinra flying, leaving him severely wounded. After a conversation whose purpose was unclear, Giovanni said that fighting no longer had meaning. Sho has clashed with Shinra, so consider the villain's mission complete. Giovanni didn't even bother to take Lisa with him. He left her behind, but the brainwashing spell is not easy to break. Who knows what Vulcan will do when facing his love? Returning to Shinra's fight, Seichi's speed is slower than his, but clearly his sword strikes are many times faster, and at this point, he demanded that Shinra should be sensible and surrender. But Shinra immediately unleashed all his firepower and rushed to attack. But once again he was hit by a sword strike and sent flying, hitting the wall directly. Analyzing Sho's power, Victor knew it was terrifyingly immense, quickly demanding Shinra run away, but unexpectedly Sho had already connected with him. Seichi momentarily pulled the two into a dark space. The boy then told his brother that the pure flame is also called the origin flame, the destructive flame which originates from this distorted space. That is the flame whose energy can interfere with anything, which is why Shinra was dragged here, greatly surprised to know that the place he was standing in is often called Hell, and even more surprised when the evangelist appeared right behind Seichi. Unfortunately, just as Shinra intended to ask him about everything why he took his brother, why he created artificial human combustion, many questions hadn't even been asked when the space transformed. They returned to the subway tracks. Seichi immediately drew his sword, and with the power he had just gained from the evangelist's blessing, Shinra was no match for him. Moreover, he also had the powerful skill of stopping time, so how fast Shinra's speed was made no difference. He was quickly hit, and after that, Shinra couldn't even see the method Seichi used to move. He was continuously beaten black and blue like that, but still determined to rise up as an older brother, continuing to rush forward, and was beaten even more miserably than before. Sho's cold attitude truly enraged Shinra, who decided to unleash all his strength. Shinra was still forced back, but the result of the fight showed hope for a turnaround. At this moment, Shinra also understood that his younger brother was so powerful thanks to his connection with the other world and the evangelist. He also had the cursed flame. He could also do it. He quickly rushed to attack Sho, but besides the time-stopping technique, Sho was also a skilled swordsman, and as a result, Seichi gained the advantage again. Shinra needed time to search for power, but unfortunately, Sho did not let him do that. Struck by a powerful move aimed directly at Shinra, Sho acted without mercy. Win or die, Shinra was determined that right at this moment he had to actively connect with Seichi through the cursed flame, no longer passively waiting for it to find him as before. He quickly unleashed all his strength, unleashed all his speed, and rushed towards Seichi, but once again was hit by a heavy sword strike and sent flying straight out. Shinra still moved forward despite that, and if he moved forward he would of course be slashed, but there were so many comrades, so many friends supporting him, hoping he would find his brother again. Shinra himself had also thought he lost all his loved ones, wishing every night for just one more chance. That chance is right before his eyes, so how could he give up? For the last time, he unleashed all his speed. Regardless of the consequences, and a miracle happened. Shinra suddenly vanished. This extremely startled Sho. As time went by, his domain lost its effect. Shinra reappeared, stabbing straight into a nearby stone pillar. Just now, his terrifying speed had equalized the distance of time. That wasn't all. Shinra immediately used the connection ability from his cursed flame, connecting with Seichi, showing Sho images of the two brothers when they were small. However, the boy did not care about these things, so the battle had to continue again. Shinra, with that speed faster than light, gave Sho a taste of attack for the first time. He achieved this power by taking advantage of his younger brother, who was connected to gain the blessing effect from the evangelist. Connecting with Sho, Shinra did the same thing. The only difference was the addition of one bridge. But even so, it only made the two capable of fighting equally. With his older brother's emotions, Shinra was once again at a disadvantage. But he knew clearly that besides defeating Sho, there would be no other way for him to save his brother, so he immediately rushed forward again. Unleashing all their strength, the destructive capability of the two was truly remarkable. With fighting like this, the entire area would be at risk of collapsing. Despite the situation, Shinra still continuously advised Soch, but being wrongfully claimed as his younger brother made the boy extremely angry. The burst of power pushed Shinra back. He wanted to continue fighting, but his body condition no longer allowed it. End it. Follow me, because you are very essential to the evangelist. Shinra, of course, couldn't accept this even if he had to die, but if he fought in a state reaching the limit break, his body would not be able to withstand it and would break down. Break down? I am a hero. I don't mind anything. I'm having a lot of fun playing with my little brother. Shinra said that and immediately rushed forward, using his speed to directly collide with Sho, emitting a powerful shockwave. Why are you so stubborn? I am not your brother. The face I am seeing is definitely the face of my younger brother. The images of you crying and smiling are still clearly visible in my memory. Shinra finished speaking and continued to transfer memories to the boy. This made Sho even angrier, and he struck out, but Shinra said he would not stop until he brought the boy's true self back. Shinra's speed was once again pushed to the maximum, and along with the attack were fragments of memories about his miserable life after losing his family, being seen as a devil by others. The memories continuously flooding over increasingly made Seichi uncomfortable and angry, but he also somewhat understood Sho's pain, understood why he reacted so intensely when claiming to be his living brother. But I am not your brother. Sho said he didn't need to know because he himself had no past, but deep down he wondered if those images were perhaps his lost memories. Every child longs for family. The boy Sho of the past was like that, and the boy Sho who is crying today is also like that. The two brothers then hugged each other tightly. Shinra said he would bring Sho back to their home. The sudden gush of red blood was Shinra's, flowing from the blade. Sho's ruthless sword had pierced his own brother. Haomiya then appeared. She had been silently controlling the sword, and now wanted to reclaim Shinra for the organization on Sho's behalf. Shinra asked Haomiya why she wanted to do that, and was astonished to hear the answer that the great catastrophe hundreds of years ago had failed to destroy humanity. Currently, if enough original flames are gathered, the evangelist will perfectly recreate that dark day. Haomiya told Shinra all of this because she had already sealed his fate, and she quickly stepped forward, preparing to act. But suddenly Sho stepped out to stop her, saying that if she wanted to do that, she should first tell him what happened to him 12 years ago. Unfortunately, Haomiya had no intention of explaining anything to Sho. When he resolutely attacked, he discovered that the evangelist had taken away his power through their connection, and against an opponent of her caliber, he could only take a blow and collapse. This proved that Sho had been exploited from the very beginning, and Shinra was then extremely worried to see his brother stand up like a soulless corpse. Unfortunately, he himself was about to face a similar tragedy, but luckily a volley of bullets arrived just in time to save Shinra, and Arthur also appeared to drive back the enemy. However, Shinra immediately warned his friend that the opponent's power was very strange, but it was too late and Arthur was instantly hit. The brainwashing technique was not simple and extremely dangerous. Unfortunately, Arthur was a guy with no brain at all, so he was fine and continued to advance with his sword. Haomiya was furious about this and, ignoring the evangelist's order to assist her troops, decided to completely eliminate her opponent. Maki's technique was quickly deflected. Haomiya's electricity had made it lose control. The same happened with Takehasa's shots, which had almost no effect on Haomiya. Haomiya quickly counterattacked, but fortunately Arthur was there. His plasma sword Excalibur was the bane of her electrical power. Just then, fierce vibrations echoed everywhere Company 8 had fully assembled. But unfortunately, Haomiya immediately fled upon command. They had no chance to capture her, and even Sho, who was retreating with her, could not be stopped. Shinra was extremely angry because he had almost rescued his brother. Company 8 then escaped safely, but Shinra was severely wounded, and Obi transferred him to Company 6. No one was better at treating ability users than Captain Hibana there. However, Hibana immediately confronted Obi about the recent continuous earthquakes, suggesting the cause might be Company 8's intrusion into the Forbidden Netherland, being punished by the soul. Obi told Hibana all the information he had about the Evangelist and the white-clad assassins being stationed in the Netherland, including their artificial spontaneous human combustion experiments to collect the original flames to destroy the world. Hibana said nothing more, but Shinra's health status was not very promising. In case he was saved but suffered full-body paralysis or other sequelae, the entire Company 8 could only bow and hope their doctor colleague would do her utmost. She had excellent life-saving ability by combining brilliant surgery with her special regeneration power. And with Shinra's strong vitality cooperating, everything went smoothly and was perfectly successful. 3 days later, Shinra woke up. The first thing he thought of was Sho, feeling extremely sad that the opportunity within reach had slipped away and he couldn't do anything about it. There was an unexpected visitor in the sick room. Benimaru of Company 7 volunteered to tell Shinra the truth from 12 years ago. Benimaru somehow knew Sho was still alive, and somehow knew the boy was being lured by the Evangelist, which immediately enraged Shinra upon hearing it. Then why didn't you save him, or at least tell me sooner? Benimaru unleashed his power to push Shinra back, saying that with his current ability, Shinra had almost died earlier, and telling him about Sho would be like sending him to his death. Don't underestimate me, I'm very different now. Fortunately, upon returning from the hospital, his comrades welcomed him very warmly, helping to ease his mind somewhat. In the previous fight with Benimaru, even though he was injured, Shinra still attacked powerfully. Attacked, continuously and extremely fiercely. But unfortunately, Benimaru's defense was as hard as a copper wall and iron fortress, not allowing him to gain any advantage. But seizing this opportunity, Shinra also honed his fighting style, fighting more and more fiercely, forcing Benimaru to counterattack. The energy surrounding him was truly too powerful, easily exploding and sending Shinra flying, and even when he returned, the result was the same. Benimaru used the method of igniting the fire within his body, circulating Shinra's heat to bring his own power to an extraordinary level, earning him the title of an incarnation of fire. The weak who know too much will only die faster. If you want to know what you need to know, then prove you are worthy. Shinra accepts this offer, his youth not afraid to put himself in front of challenges, with the ultimate goal of defeating the enemy who harmed his family. Shinra quickly rushed forward, but the energy wall sent him flying once more. People often say Benimaru is the strongest fire soldier, but now that assessment might need reconsideration. Yet, after a loud scream, Shinra had punched through that heat wall, quickly attacking Benimaru and causing a sky-shattering explosion, forcing him to use all his power. His entire body blazed with red fire, meeting Shinra's increasingly powerful surge of energy head-on, then easily tossing him away, emerging as the victor. However, Benimaru said that it had been a long time since anyone could injure him, and the arm that had just blocked Shinra's blow was now trembling. He then revealed the truth from 12 years ago, the time when the Evangelist was already active and causing fires everywhere. He somehow knew that Sho was the child carrying the original flame, and also knew about the fire beforehand. To be more precise, he indirectly caused the fire by performing spontaneous human combustion on Sho to confirm it. Seeing the boy engulfed by the flames, his mother became extremely worried and afraid, and ended up suffering the same fate because the opponent wanted to silence witnesses. Shinra's mother then turned into an infernal. He, terrified, for the first time unleashed the energy from his feet and flew far away, leaving behind his mother who, despite her mutated form, still struggled to crawl in search of her child. Searching for Sho, who was believed to be the cause of the fire, was also the reason, due to the connection of blood ties, that helped Shinra awaken his third-generation ability. His mother then made a bargain with the Evangelist, breaking off her horns and stabbing them directly into her eyes, choosing blindness to obey the opponent's condition in exchange for the chance to be with her child again. Being the cause of the fire and his mother being the monster he had resented for so long, this fact truly felt like a frustrating farce to Shinra. The reason was also because Benimaru only arrived at the scene 15 minutes after the fire. The moment he got inside, he only saw the pitiful sight of the child and the monster, watching them leave without being able to intervene. The main cause led to the disaster and thus the confusion. His telling Shinra that his mother and brother had died also caused him to be confused for a long time. The reason Benimaru lied was to keep Shinra away from the deception. He feared that one day the evangelists would come for him just like they came for Sho. He wanted him to hate and fear fire, not use his ability, and thus escape all deception. The story from 12 years ago ends here. Benimaru left Shinra with many questions, wondering if the demon he had previously met in the Netherlands was his mother. It must be, and if so, he wanted to see her again. He needed the connection of the original flame, and Shinra immediately thought of a bold plan. He then reported everything to Obi, asking him to help him contact Captain Hage of Company 4. According to Shinra's investigation, this person knew how to activate the connection for his flame. Obi ultimately decided to help, moved by Shinra's determination that if his mother had become an infernal but was still alive, he would use every means to turn her back into a human. The fate of Shinra and his family is indeed tragic. As a hero who always helps others and lives for everyone, I believe he will succeed in saving his mother and brother. To find out how Shinra does those things, please sit back and wait for the next part on Kai What If.